Hello out there in YouTube land. I'm John Milewski, host of Dialogue. We're on the set of the program here at the Woodrow Wilson International Center for Scholars, where I just concluded a fascinating discussion with the author of this book, Washington's U Street, a Biography. He's our own Blair Ruble, who runs the Kennan Institute here at the Wilson Center, and he's written this terrific book, which is a microcosm of American history through the story of a really interesting neighborhood in Washington, D.C. If you've never visited the city, it should certainly be on your list, beyond the monuments. And Blair, I want to ask you, what attracted you to the subject matter? Why did you decide to write a biography of a street?
Well, I've lived in Washington a long time, and I've watched this particular neighborhood change, and it's a place where I knew people and I went to, and I happened I go to jazz clubs in the area, and one night was a night when, as the neighborhood began to gentrify, a very expensive apartment building opened up, and the people there were talking about how they were losing the neighborhood, and as they talked about the neighborhood, I realized this is a really interesting story. And I wanted to find out more about the story, but couldn't find it anywhere. So I thought,
somebody had to do it?
Somebody had to do it. So I decided to write it.
This notion of D.C. as a city beyond the monuments, you know, so many people, all they see when they come here is the Federal District, the Mall. Talk a bit about that, about the richness of American history, of local history that can be found in a place like U Street that takes it beyond this stereotype of Washington as just the federal city.
Well, a lot of people, they come and see the mall, or even if they move here, they assume everybody sort of comes and leaves, when in fact there's been a historically important and vibrant African-American community and residence here since the beginning of the city. And it's a community like other communities that has good stories and ugly stories and important stories and insignificant stories, but it's a real place, and it's produced really important people.
Give us a verbal tour of some of the historic and cultural spots of distinction within the neighborhood, the U Street neighborhood. You say that Duke Ellington's favorite place was Freddie Holliday's Pool Hall, I believe.
It was Freddie Holliday's Pool Hall. And
what are some of the other places?
Well, alas, that no longer exists, but another place that was right nearby there was Maxie's Music Store, where a number of, the leading producer of Atlantic Records first heard American music. He was the son of the Turkish ambassador. But the Howard Theater was one of the focal points of African-American performing arts. The Lincoln Theater, there were all sorts of clubs up and down. The baseball park, Griffith Stadium, Howard University is absolutely critical to the story. And a number of churches, many of which are still in the neighborhood. If you came and walked around, you would see them. There are tours of U Street now.
And some of the newer elements, the African-American Civil War Memorial, which we talked about.
Exactly, and Ben's Chili Bowl, which is a local landmark, and you should just go to Ben's Chili Bowl just to go to Ben's Chili Bowl. You don't.
Well, from reconstruction to the revitalization of the neighborhood today, you've told an epic story, and I highly recommend it to our viewers. Washington's U Street, a Biography by Blair Ruble. And if you'd like to hear the complete interview with Blair talking about his book, come to our website, www.wilsoncenter.org. And if you look on the upper right-hand part of the screen, you'll see a tab for Dialogue. Click there, and you can find a complete 30-minute interview.